thanks everybody for joining me on Meet a Raven Miner. I'm your host, Hype Man, and my guest today is going to be Xander Coin Mining. So thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And if you want to just talk about, how you got into cryptocurrency and how you got into mining, and we'll just go ahead and start it off.
All right, awesome. Thank you for having me there, Hype Man. When I got started about April 2020, I kind of just stumbled upon mining and Ravencoin. I built my first rig late April, early May. It was actually my gaming computer, and I took it apart in pieces, and I took it off in pieces and then put it back together and had like a wooden frame. And I had one card, which was an R9, I believe it was a 280X, R9 XFX R9 290 280X. So it was a 4 gigabyte card, nothing fancy. And then I looked on eBay. I bought another one just like it, and then I had a 470, an RX 470 XFX that had the lights, like the LEDs. Yep. That was on my gaming computer. I didn't even know I had it until I took it apart. So that's kind of what I started with.
So you were just like totally new, which is really cool. I myself was the same way. I've been mining off and on since I would say 2017, but it was just one card, my 1070, and I would mine like Ethereum here and there, and I kind of gave up on it. But I always saw the mining rigs on YouTube. I thought that was so cool. And just like you, last year, that's when I made the leap and took apart my gaming computer and added card by card. And so the first thing that you started mining, was it Ravencoin?
Yeah, actually that's what I started mining with initially. I actually I had an old Twitter at the time, and I stumbled upon Ravencoin Assets page.
Wow.
And so I started reading on Ravencoin Assets page, and that's kind of where I got the idea. And then I believe at the time I had discovered a Boss Coin, the YouTuber.
Yep.
And from his page I learned how to put together the mining rig for Ravencoin, and then from then I just started going on to other miners, other YouTubers, and that's how I got started. Ethereum, I started doing that once I built my first 6 card rig, is when I started doing Ethereum.
I see. And so basically, you just jumped right in. You just went ahead and built the rig kind of from scratch. So how many rigs do you have now?
Well, let's see. I have 3 working 6 GPU rigs.
Hello everyone, this is Xander Coin Mining, and this is my mining shed.
One of them is a mix of RX 580 and 480 8 GB cards. They're all AMD, XFX, and that mining rig is mining Ethereum right now. It's kind of like my income to pay for the electricity cost. That's what that rig's purpose is. And I have another 2 rigs that are 480 rigs, and those are also, they're a mix between XFX and Sapphires. And I had 3 other 4 GB GPU rigs, but I'm parting those out. As we know, 4 GB kind of obsolete for Ethereum, and here shortly in the next 2 years or so, it won't be good for Ravencoin. So I'm kind of in transition, so to speak, from the older generation 4 GB cards, moving on to newer ones.
Yeah, I think it's a really smart idea that you're treating it like a business, and you're using your 8 GB cards that are, probably more efficient and make more money right now mining Ethereum, using that to pay for your power, and then letting your other cards mine whatever you want to mine. In this case, Ravencoin being, a long-term investment. And, I have my 1 rig right now, and I weigh the power costs with the difficulty of Ravencoin today. And so I'm, 100 mega hash on Ravencoin, or I can run like 130 mega hash on Ethereum with maybe like 60 on like Ethereum Classic if I want to split my rig and run it all on ETH hash. And so it's like maybe $7 a day right now if I do the ETH side, and it's $6 a day if I mine Ravencoin. And there's more power, so it's like about 100 watts different of power, which is it's crazy. And so there's more heat for mining Ravencoin on my rig. Right now I don't care because it's wintertime. It's 29 degrees here where I live today. Exactly. So I don't mind mining Ravencoin, but I have to think sometimes. It's a hard equation, because I was mining Ethereum when it was $200 and I wasn't making any money. It was like, right, the power cost was what I was making every day at $200. And so it's hard to speculate and say, do I want to make 71 Ravencoin a day right now at 7.5 cents a Ravencoin, or do I want to make this $7 of Ethereum to sell it or to hold it? Or so it's crazy. I mean, it's the mining of the cryptocurrency. It just gives you such a broad horizon of what is your timeline, what's your end goal, what's your short-term goal. So
it depends.
Do you have, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's what I ended up doing when I got into Ethereum. My first rig that I was doing Ravencoin with, the first one, I ended up splitting it. I did 3 cards Ethereum and 3 cards Ravencoin. That's how I ended up doing it in the beginning. Nice. And I branched off from there.
It was funny. I have Hive OS, and I've been playing with, because I have 2 4 GB cards, and I have 4 cards that can mine Ethereum, and I have 3 AMD cards and 3 NVIDIA cards. So with Hive OS, I had to really tinker, and I can't get Team Red Miner to run at all on Ravencoin, but I can do like NB Miner or G Miner with Ravencoin on my 4 GB cards, but I get like 9 mega hash when I'm used to getting like 13 or 14 with Team Red Miner. So it was, I don't know, it's just kind of like with this rig for me, with the way it's split, I've just been doing like pretty much all Ravencoin, or I go and mine the ETH side, which is hard because it's like I kind of always want to support the network and mine Ravencoin. So that's why I'm mining it right now. And if the difficulty stays like this, I want to keep mining it because I want to make the coins per day. That's what I've been about the whole time, because I think it's the aspect of, if it's 71 coins a day, if it goes to $1, I was making $71 a day. And that's an insane amount of money for 6 graphics cards to be making. So, I mean, the potential is there. It's not guaranteed. And I have a long-term horizon on holding this coin. So that's why I'm doing it. Talk a little bit about your farm. I'm going to, post the videos, and obviously, so you have a shed. I
Yeah.
want you to talk a little bit about, how you're ventilating it, what you're, kind of how does your shed work for
Okay.
you and stuff like that. And are you doing anything specifically to mine Ravencoin because it runs hotter or anything like that?
Okay. So the shed that I have is a 10-foot by 12-foot shed. It's a pre-built, so it was already built. Well, not built all the way, but it came in pieces and then just put it together. Um I specifically bought a barn style version because I needed to put the fans for exhaust. So I didn't want to get a flat shed because then I would have nowhere to put fans. So what I did in my actual shed is I put um, two exhaust fans, one being I believe it's a 18-inch, and then the other one is a 24-inch or 36-inch. I'm not sure exactly. I forget. But the bigger one I use primarily during the summers, and I cut holes, exhaust or intake holes on the side of the shed, all on three sides, not the door side, but the other side. And I put one intake vent up top on the opposite side of the fans, of the exhaust fans. Therefore, it wouldn't create some kind of like vacuum that would keep the hot air inside circling. It would actually just go out.
Yeah.
And so the larger fan I use during the summers. Um, right now, the smaller fan is running constantly, taking out the hot air. And um, I gave credit the idea of that idea to Boss Coin because I watched his video on how he built his shed, and I didn't mimic exactly what he did, but I saw what he was trying to do, and I just made it work for me, and it does. I mean,
Yeah.
I have the temperature controlled fans. I bought them on Amazon. I mean, I believe Hydro Chain probably bought the same exact fans. Those are great fans off of Amazon. They were, I mean, I bought the bigger one for like $220. I mean, and they're industrial fans. I mean, they're good fans. Take a lot of CFMs out of that shed. So when it's running Ravencoin, it gets hot in there. One time the fan controller died on me and the fan stopped turning. It was 112 degrees inside that shed.
Boy.
It damn near melted the cards and everything that was in it. But luckily it didn't because it was winter. But um that the way I built the shed is open air concept. There's no AC inside, there's no humidifier. It's kind of hard without the to take the humidity out to have an open air shed, especially in the part of California I live in, which is extreme. It could be extremely cold or extremely hot or extremely humid or extremely not. So it's you got to be versatile here. But I kind of use the way the air circulates in the shed to my advantage on controlling humidity. The Ravencoin is hot, so I tend to keep it warmer in the shed so the humidity doesn't get too high. But when I run Ethereum, I try not to use too much exhaust because then it will freeze the cards out. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's a tricky game, and so for the people that maybe don't understand mining too much, you have these fans that are temperature controlled. So once the shed gets to a certain temperature, these fans are kicking on to remove the hot air, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
much. Or humidity controlled. Mine
yeah.
are set to a certain humidity, so if they go past 45% humidity, they kick on automatically regardless of the temperature.
Okay, that's good to know too. So when you do have something outdoors like that, humidity and temperature control is a huge deal because, like you said, you don't want your cards to freeze up. You don't want to generate moisture
No.
on the cards, which is with electronics obviously bad. So it's sounds like you have a good system dialed in, and it sounds like you've
I can
played with it
share
and
a
learned.
story about the humidity part.
Sure, go
I'm
ahead.
sure you know about it or you've heard about it. I tweeted a while back about my farm going out, and it was during a really humid, foggy part of California. It was like a month or two ago. It got so humid in there because I didn't have the settings correctly. It got so humid that the out of the 5 GPU rigs, 3 of them, the power supplies got so much moisture in them, they all 3 of them arced and exploded and caught fire.
Wow.
And I could smell the smell of that of the power supplies inside my house, and the shed is outside, and I could smell it in the house. So I freaked out and ran out there, and sure enough, there's smoke coming out of the shed, and it was the power supplies that had caught fire. All because I didn't control the humidity. So humidity is the enemy when you're trying to mine. So this, I mean, I didn't have issues with like the asics because I have a couple asics. Their power supplies weren't affected, but the ATX style, like the regular computer power supplies, they will arc and they will catch fire, and the little components will explode if they get too much humidity.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, luckily, you were around and able to act quickly
Yeah.
and take action. That's very important. I myself, my rig's right next to me, and I have, it's on my desk, and I try not to keep, much things flammable around it. And I got a smoke detector right above it. And I'm paranoid where I'll come over and I'll, touch my connectors where I have these, adapters, the 8 pins plugged in, the splitters, and I'll just touch right there. And I had this one that every time I touched it, it was a little warm, which was weird. And I just, I went ahead and just changed it out because I'd go down the line touching them all and, totally normal, totally normal. Oh, this one's kind of warm, totally normal, totally normal. And so I was like, I don't want to take any chances. It's not worth it to me to use that plug, if it's a risk. And this is a note to everybody: if you don't have 6 pin plugged into your risers, you need to go do that right now.
Yeah.
Because that's a fire hazard. So
Yes, it is. I'm guilty of using SATA, even now, but
that
that's
happens.
not because I want to. It's
Yeah.
just what I'm working with what I got.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm working with what I got. I mean, I don't have enough 6 pin to run all of my rigs, but I have used SATA, but not for any cards of high power.
Yeah,
For
that's smart.
example, my 470 and 480 rigs will run on SATA because they're, sub 100 watts a piece on the card. So I don't have a problem doing that. I sure as heck wouldn't do a 580 or bigger on a SATA, that's for sure. So that's something to keep in mind too.
For sure. Yeah, I think people can certainly get away with it when they're running, less high wattage cards for sure,
Yes.
and I myself, I don't know if I have any right next to me, but I just bought them in bulk off Amazon, and they're the, 8 pin to 8 pin. And I think they're either the 9 inch or the 12 inch. And with the power supplies I have, it's perfect. And I don't know, I think I bought maybe an 8 or a 10 pack. So um but I think that was something that wasn't. I mean, my cards are all, 470s. I do have a 2060 and a 1080 Ti. So that one is, that one's drawing 200 watts of power. So that one I definitely want to have, all the right gear on and stuff. So
Yeah.
but once you got it, you got it. And I think, for I'm looking right now at trying to get, a mining motherboard that maybe already has the CPU and it's used, probably is what I want to get for my next one. And
Mhm.
probably just want to get, I'm trying to learn about the server power supplies that a lot of people are using, and trying to weigh, do I want to get that, or do I want to try to get like a 1600 watt power supply? On this rig I have 1000 watt and a 750 watt, so I could probably even add another card to this rig if I wanted to. But I have
Yeah.
an 8 card frame with 6 cards. So for mining Ravencoin, I have really good heat distribution, and
Yeah.
I don't really suffer from too much
I
heat issues. So
I personally, on all my rigs, I have 2000 watt ATX power supplies. 2000 watt.
Nice.
I rather have too much than not enough wattage.
For sure.
And to come back to my shed, the shed itself runs on 240 power. It does not run on 120. There are 120 volt, plugs that I use for auxiliary. For example, the Ethernet. I got the router in there. I got lamps, the cleaning, like the vacuums and stuff like that. So I got 120, but for the mining specifically is 240 volt power.
And so, do you mind explaining, how do you go about setting up that kind of power, and what does that kind of entail?
So for example, if you have a 200 amp circuit coming, or 200 amps coming from the power company to your power box, the way you bring it to, like, let's say a shed, and this is assuming you get permits and all that and you do it the right way, is they run a 100 amp or 120 amp breaker from your main box. You'll run that main line underground to the shed, to a box that you have in the shed that will have a large breaker, and it will be 120 amps. So the difference between 120 and 240 is the way you connect the power or the plugs. So instead of doing one hot, and one negative, you're doing two hots and two negative. That's what makes it 240. So you're not stepping down the power. You're not reducing the amount of power going to your shed. All you're doing is you're taking 120 amps and moving it to your shed. And then when you make your plugs, your L6 30Ps, if that's what you use, like I use 30 amp plugs, L6 style, because I have what do they call it? LP? I got PDUs, power distribution units. So that's how I did my shed. I didn't want to step it down to 120 because it runs hotter usually, from my experience, because I had my entire farm was in my son's room for a good 9 months. I damn near blew a lot of sockets out in the house and almost caught fire to one breaker. So that's why I built the shed, to take everything outside.
Yeah.
But that's how I did it on the shed, is I moved 120 amps from the main 200 amp box to the shed. And then from there, I separated into 3 or 4 30 amp plugs. But you got to follow the 90% rule or 80% rule. You don't want to use more than that. So that's why I did 120 amps, so I can only utilize 80 maximum. I don't want to go above that. I don't want to catch the thing on fire, and I don't want to catch the rest of my house on fire. So
Yeah.
that's how I went about it. I mean, it's more technical than that. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's as good as I am at explaining it.
No, that was a perfect synopsis for kind of doing it for someone that, I mean, even to me, I learned some from that. So I think
okay, that's good, because I had no idea.
Great information for me. It's like, and so do you have a separate power bill for that one, or is it just all run through the same?
No,
one?
that box that I have in the shed, the power runs directly from my meter that's connected to my house. It's just in the main power box to my home, I had room to put a 120 amp breaker to run to my shed. I had room for it.
Gotcha.
So that's how I did it. Well, you
Makes
can
sense.
see my cat in the background. He's watching the GPUs and the ASICs back there.
I saw him a minute ago when he was behind your other shoulder, and I was like, I couldn't figure out what it was, but now
Yeah, it's a cat.
got a great view now.
We have cats here. They're
Well,
good.
I got 2 cats myself and 3 dogs, but
That's right.
I got two of my dogs are laying right next to me on the floor here. So
Nice.
Well, it's cool. It's cool to learn about the power like that. I ask because like I have a detached garage. It's 2 stories, and it has its own power. It has its own breaker box, and it does have its own power bill already. So I don't know how much work it is to add that
Not
sort
very
of
much.
power. So I imagine not much. And with
No,
it
you
having
can
a
always
separate
reach
power
out to me
bill,
and I'll help you. I mean, I'll do what I can with what I know, because that's, you know, did most of the work. So
yeah, I mean, it seems okay. So it seems to me like the perfect setup to get a mining, either to use that temporarily or to get a building like you do. I have an acre here where I live, so I'm weighing the options of I want to expand my farm this year slowly. I do kind of want the cards somewhat to pay for themselves if it's possible. If Ravencoin goes up a lot, then I can do a lot of things faster. So
yeah,
I'm trying to be patient, honestly, and see just what happens with the market. I think a lot of people are going to get scared and they're going to sell their cards, and I'm going to
that's
be
what's gonna
ready.
happen.
And I'm
And
very
that's
long
what I
term.
was bringing up in a space I was in earlier. Um, I'm sure you remember 2020, early 2020, you could get an 8 GB card for less than $100.
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming back. That's going to happen again because people are going to, it's going to be unprofitable to mine anything. When the merge happens for Ethereum, you know, that hash rate ain't necessarily going to go to any other coin. It may just, the hardware will dump into the market and that's it. People wash their hands of it because they don't want to, they don't want to mine an unprofitable coin, or they don't want to run equipment for free. So for them to make back something and not have a continuous expenses, they're going to dump the hardware on the market, on the secondary market. But people like me, people like you and other people, we're going to pick up that hardware because we're not scared of the short term. That's just short term selling right there.
And it's crazy to me too, because I don't know if I'm just naive, but I feel like um, through my crypto research, like I feel like I was right about Bitcoin going up. I was right about Ethereum going up. I feel like I've done my research, and I'm hoping that Ravencoin follows the same footsteps just based on what fundamentally it does. Because you can look at a chart and you're never going to see what's fundamentally being built.
No,
And so it's crazy to think where we are kind of both involved in this space, and we see a lot that's being produced and a lot that's happening. And it's exciting times. That's, to me, I think I want to make these videos because like I look back at videos of like people where Bitcoin goes over $100 for the first time, and that's history, and
yeah,
we're sitting here talking about Ravencoin at 7.5 cents right now on January 21st, 2022. So
yep,
I'm
that's
so
what I got
interested
right
in,
here.
10 years from now, looking back on
Yeah,
this video and being like, man, can you believe it?
it's
Uh,
early. It's very early right now. Hype man, it's super worse. Ravencoin is so early. I mean, I compare it to Bitcoin before its first halving early. Like right now, Bitcoin, I mean, what? It just passed its third or fourth. I can't remember which one.
yeah.
If super early, we see it at 7 cents. For all I know, the next halving or the next second or third halving, I may be looking at a 7,000. Don't quote me on that, but $7,000 Ravencoin, and that's gonna be big right there. So that's why I'm saying, it's just early.
It's so interesting that, you know, digital currency, maybe they're going to make a central bank digital currency, maybe they're not. There's so many things politically that are going to happen, and I do want to talk about you know the idea of holding your own crypto, because to me, like China bans Bitcoin. I saw a thing on Twitter yesterday about Russia calls for maybe banning it. And so they didn't ban it, but they're talking about it. And so that, creates fear. And whether they're going to actually ban it or not, there's still, the media is putting it out there to create something, and excuse me, it's so interesting to see how this stuff's going to evolve. But to me, if I'm storing my stuff right here.
Mhm.
I know that, I hate to say it, if the United States bans something, well, I still have it. If it's on an exchange that's US owned, at least I still have what I have.
Mhm.
And that, if that means, God forbid, fleeing the United States to actually be able to use it, then I guess that's what you'll have to do, but hopefully we don't have to have a world that comes to that. But I think that some people are prepared to do what they have to do to protect their money. And I think the idea of being able to self-custody your funds, to talk about that, I run my own business. I got a check last year. When I started, I switched to bank account, right? So I just started the bank account, put this check in there, $3,600 check. So it's a good chunk of money, and put it in the bank, and I couldn't use it for over 10 days. So it's my money. It's a new bank account. They're making sure that the funds go. So I understand. But at the end of the day, it's my money. I put it in somewhere that I can't touch it. And so like right now, if I go to the Ravencoin blockchain, I can go send money and no one can stop me. If I go to the Bitcoin blockchain, nobody can stop me.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful. And I think that the no coiners need to hear that, because that's what's up. I mean, it's at the end of the day, having self-custody of your own money, being able to use your own money when you want to, without asking, is the future.
And I agree, because let me give you my understanding of the whole banning of Bitcoin and banning of any currency whatsoever. All we got to do is look back to history. Look how the prohibition went for the governments. That didn't go very well. We had the speakeasies, we had the underground bars, people were getting alcohol no matter what, even if it was banned by prohibition. And I think Russia and other countries, they're kind of hesitant to ban something because they know that if they ban something, more people will get it. It's more of like, if you ban it, more people will adopt it. And if you don't ban it, maybe they won't think about it. But banning something doesn't make people not want it. If anything, banning people or banning a crypto or banning something, more people want it.
Yeah.
Just like firearms in the United States. They want to ban this kind of a certain firearm or a certain whatever, more people buy it. So so I think they're looking at cryptocurrency the same way. And the federal, and I just watched a hearing from a committee regarding crypto and using energy and all this stuff. They are going, that reminded me of Jerome Powell. He spoke of a CBDC and they asked him a question. I believe it was, can a CBDC and the existing stable coins coexist peacefully? And he said yes. So that tells me that, at least in the United States, the federal government is working on a central bank digital currency. And you would have to make a wallet that is custody, or the custodian would be the IRS. Now, see, that changes things. So that's what the no coiners are going to do, that without knowing what it's going to do to them or how much control they're giving up.
Yeah, I saw kind of about, between COVID and central bank digital currency, trying to put, a whole social profile and everything that you ever do be linked and tied like that. And
that's correct.
I mean, to me, I don't know, it's crazy. So, the people that are able to be corrupt in the government, are able to make basically a stable coin in which they're able to still continue corruption, in my opinion, because I just, there's no way, I saw a thing like Nancy Pelosi said that she's okay with, Congress banning, other people in Congress now, no insider trading anymore. I'm like, yeah, she said that in a tweet, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, well, that's very interesting. Now that you've made, millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, you're okay with banning it now. It's very, convenient, I'll say. Right. So, whether that's said or not, I still think that's 100% true. I don't think they should be able to trade, and I think they make tons of money. And you know, next time we're going to have a pandemic, y'all just let me know when you're going to buy and I'll join you.
But they
But
see that's the beauty of Ravencoin. I
yeah,
mean, the beauty of Ravencoin that I see, and the reason why I'm so you know, bullish on Ravencoin is a CBDC is like the ultimate control. You can get your money taken out of your wallet because they don't like you, they'll take it. Or because you did something wrong, they can wipe your wallet. Kind of like proof of stake, for example. Some of the proof of stake stuff. You can get wiped, rug pulled, or whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
In Ravencoin, once you own that Ravencoin, an NFT, a particular asset, you know, it's yours, and that it's forever yours. Nobody can take it from you. The government can't come in and say, "Oh, we're taking this from you." It's like, no, you don't have the keys. Well, give us the keys. Well, they fell in the ocean somewhere, boating accident. So that's the beauty of Ravencoin. It's the ultimate for owning assets. Ownership. That's true ownership. Cannot be taken away from you, and that's why I'm so bullish on Ravencoin.
yeah. The peer-to-peer transfer of assets, and you know, but whenever I was talking, you know, last week with Sarah and Dan,
Mhm.
it really clicked on me when they said that they have a company that they're tokenizing the asset. So to me, it's just like you can name a company, you can have an asset, you can tokenize it, and just basically distribute it or distribute, you know, raising
Right.
funds or whatever it may be. And it didn't really click with me exactly until they really said it like that. You know, the house is tokenized like that, and people just, I think they have a misconception of how it's structured, but it is just a business that, you know, they're doing diamonds, you know, they're doing anything that can be, you know, fraudulently done can be proved, you know. So I think
Yes.
proving the proof and having that ownership, like you say, is so important and will be very vital, I think, going forward with the way things are going to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of tokenizing, do you have any plans to tokenize on the blockchain?
Yeah, I do. I actually plan on tokenizing some of the stuff I own. I have a vintage, I have a 1968 Ford F100 short bed custom truck that I've been passed down by first my grandfather, my dad, and then he passed it to me, and then my son will eventually have it. We're gonna tokenize that. That's, you know, an antique or whatever you want to call it. It's an old vehicle, and I want to tokenize my, you know, eventually my business eventually, because it is an LLC. Xander Coin Mining itself is a legitimate company registered in the state of California. Um, and so I want to do my house eventually because from what I heard, there's people here in the local government that have spoke about tokenizing real estate here locally at the county level. So like
Wow.
using it for the government. And I was like, oh wow, you guys are gonna really do that? They're like, oh, we're thinking about it. But they said once we promote to a higher level or a higher like within the local government, they can try to implement something similar. So we'll see. But it looks like they're wanting to tokenize here, which is nice.
I mean, that's crazy. I think to me, there's going to be a lot of different cryptos that tokenize. They're going to be good or bad or have their pros and cons. I think Ravencoin's going to get a slice. I think it's very, very good at what it does, and I
Yes.
think, you know, it has no marketing. You know, it has no official people. I saw a thing the other day. Someone was looking for, you know, people to maybe make a project, and some guy said, you have to ask Tron Black. And I replied, you do
Oh.
not have to ask anybody, you know, which is so important to me. Like I'm not messing with the blockchain that you can't do that. I mean, to me, and
Right.
it's, I go and I research other cryptos, and I'm just not a fan of proof of stake. People will try to convince me otherwise. And I have friends that love certain coins on proof of stake. And I understand how it works, you know, and you know, that's all I can say is I understand it. I
Yeah.
just don't, it's not my favorite. And I can't be convinced to to invest my money in it right now. So
Right.
I love proof of work. I think I'm getting ideas of like, do I put solar panels on my garage? Do I try to make it so energy efficient where I don't have the cost of power, or it's very minimal, and now I can just keep stacking the cards? So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to learn from other people and talk to other miners. I think the cool thing about Me the Raven Miner and hosting it myself is just talking to people and learning from their experience for free.
Yeah.
But
No, yeah,
it's
and that's
fun.
fine.
It's so fun to me. It's a passion. I think everybody is equally as passionate about mining and is about Ravencoin if they're a Ravencoiner, which is why I'm trying to highlight it. Like, I don't care if you mine Ethereum to pay for your stuff here. It's a business, and that's great.
Exactly.
You know, Sam and or Dan and Sarah, they were saying that, you know, they have certain cards. They're doing exactly that. They're mining Ethereum to try to buy more cards to hopefully either mine Ravencoin or switch it to Ravencoin, or, you know, they've said that they've never sold a Raven coin. So I was like, and they've been, you know, at it since 2018. So
Oh wow.
it's crazy that they've, you know, they're mining with their 4 GB cards still. And he said that in the summer he had to switch to Ethereum Classic some on the 4 GB because it got so hot. But it's crazy to learn from seeing pictures of different farms and trying to get ideas of, do I want to mess around with 4 GB cards at all? And I don't think I do at this point. I think I'm really going to look for maybe some 1070 Ti's, or I like the 570 so much because the power consumption versus a 1070, it's insane.
Yep.
And you know, it's hard for me to go for like the 1080 Ti. I'm pulling 200 watts right now, and I can run 185 watts on Raven, and it's getting, you know, 25 mega hash versus, you know, this other card's running 80 watts and it's getting 15, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I was like, if I'm running 2 of those, and so I think 8 GB 570 580s are going to be kind of what I'm looking for. Besides, maybe I'd love to get like a 3060 or 3070 Ti at retail. I'm doing the new egg shuffle, and it's crazy because like Ant Online, they have 3070 Ti's today with like a 750 or 850 power supply for like around $1,160. And you can get maybe a 3070 Ti for maybe around $1,000, you know, ish retail, maybe a little bit less. But the Zotac 3070 Ti, they're selling it at 1180 by itself.
wow.
So you could
Wow.
buy the Ant Online one 3070 Ti, which is EVGA, which is much better than Zotac in my
Yes.
opinion, and you're getting a power supply for $20 less. So you really have to look around.
Your bargain shop. You got a bargain shop. And that's what I did in my farm. I mean, nothing I own here is brand new. Nothing. Not a single card. Not even the motherboards. I mean, the only thing brand new probably was the risers, because risers go out all the time. I mean, so you got to have extra risers, because risers, that's something they go through. If you get cheap quality, of course, like I do, I get cheap quality. So that's why I go through risers like crazy. But yeah, so like everything I've had is secondhand, third hand, fifth hand, for all I know. I mean, everything, you know, it's the old generation cards, 480s, 470s, 570s, 580s. So I mean, nothing's new. I really want some 3080 Ti's though. I mean, those are nice. I like those.
Yeah, they're crazy. They pull a lot of power and they produce a lot. So you were kind of talking about you're trying to sell some cards. So what does this transition period look like, and what's your plan for 2022? What's it look like for Xander Coin Mining?
Well, for 2022, I mean, I have a solar system now. It's about 21 kilowatt system, and I'm looking to put an additional 11 or 12 kilowatt system this coming year, and hopefully that helps out some more. It powers both the other house on the property and my house and the farm during the day. It's awesome, and I'm still kicking power back into the grid even after, you know, everything is running and stuff. So another solar structure will get put up. The cards, once I get them all sold, I'll be moving on to newer cards. I mean, more than likely, you know, the 6600s, you know, AMD side and Nvidia side, some 3080 Ti's if I can get my hands on them, you know, for some good prices. But I'm definitely going to wait for the onslaught of hardware that's going to hit the market post merge, first post merge, if it happens this year. I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but I hope it does. That'd be nice. I mean, it won't be nice for the market. I mean, I have my up here, I have a market cipher up above me, so on a screen, so I'm watching that all the time. But that's what I'll be doing. I mean, more solar. The shed's gonna stay. It's already built out to as big as I can make it, and probably get a couple helium miners, more. I have a couple now. Those are good for paying the power, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's cool. I have a friend that has some, and that he got into it real early, and then he invested a lot of money into it real early. I think he's done well from it too. And he tried to teach me about it and teach me how, you know, he's like if you can make friends with your neighbors and have your neighbor put one up for you, he's like, you can make a lot of money because it's a little bit further away. And he was trying to really go into detail about it, and I was like, that's a crazy system, and that's crazy that's how it works. But it's cool.
Passive. It's, you know, I just set my miners up. I mean, I got one in my parents' house. My brother has one. He's nearby my parents, and then I have one here on my shed. Actually, I have a nice 30-foot pole going straight up with a 10 dBi antenna on top. And I mean, when you're making about a helium a day, or I think right now it's like $30 a day on a helium miner, that easily over the course of the month will pay for my whatever electric bill I get, if I have one, because of the solar. But that's the thing. I'm using these other sources of income, passive income sources in crypto, helium, mining ETH. That alone covers my costs, so I can buy more Ravencoin, mine Ravencoin, solo mining. As a matter of fact, last night I hit a block.
Nice.
I hit a block last night.
Let's
I hit a block last night about 2:00 in the morning my time. And it was I only have, I think right now, solo mining. I got 2 rigs solo mining, and my desk computer, the one I'm talking to you on, is also mining, solo mining on Ravencoin. So last night I hit a block, and the one thing I've discussed in another space was NFTs and things like that. I'm involved in that too. I like to buy NFTs and whatnot. The money from the block rewards is what I use to buy NFTs. So that's my way of reinvesting into Ravencoin. You know, I win the block reward, which is great, but then I also use that same Raven in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I've done the same. I was mining last year. I got to a point where I liked the amount of Ravencoin that I had built up, and it seemed like, you know, project after project dropped, and I was buying, you know, one from you and one from him and one from her and one from them. And before that, then I had, you know, so many of them, and, you know, I have no regrets. I haven't had much luck reselling many of mine. I have resold some for some profit, and a lot of them, you know, I think we're very early, like you say. I think some of them will be like, oh my gosh, can you remember back when we had that project came out so many years ago? And so I think, to me, it's they're collector's items. I haven't spent a lot of money. It was, I essentially traded the power or the Raven I was doing to help grow this ecosystem. I mean, DGen's got to quit his job from making these NFTs and doing what he's doing. So I definitely don't mind supporting somebody and changing his life. I think a lot of people will have their life changed by crypto or Ravencoin. So
that's important. I mean, as a miner, as a Ravencoin miner, I feel like I need to, not that I'm in like a forced to, but I feel like I need to invest in the ecosystem. If I want to see the ecosystem succeed, I need to be a part of it. I can't just mine it and hodl and wait for $100. I gotta get in on the floor, have some skin in the game, and get involved. And that's what I've been doing, you know. And to me as a miner, I feel not only is it important for me to secure the network with my rigs, but it's also important for me to engage in the ecosystem as well. That's how I feel about that.
I agree 100%. And Ravencoin has probably the greatest community to help, you know, facilitate it. And I think,
Oh, it does. Yeah.
I think the stuff that's being built, like the guys making the P2, you know, peer-to-peer decentralized asset market, I'm going to record a video tonight. I'm going to watch them do everything and try to understand it all and try to publish this content so that other people that have no idea how to set stuff up like that will get to know how to do it, because I'm somewhat technical, but I don't know exactly. He's going to have to help me some too. So if I'm just going to record it, and so people can learn from that experience, and I hope we can grow the peer-to-peer decentralized market. I mean, that to me is like Ethereum. People are looking for it. Like OpenSea is having this drama. If it can get put out and we can bring so many eyes to it, it could change a lot of things. I don't know if it will or what, but I never like get too hyped about any project, because it's just like sometimes they're made and sometimes they're amazing. And you know, like Ravenist came and it's crazy. Raven came, it's crazy. They're both of those changed the Ravencoin NFTs and the structure of how things are done.
Definitely propelled it.
You know, and so things like that's just going to keep happening, and then bigger money is going to start coming. And then when that happens, we can then sit back, I think, and just help do what we've been doing. We are the marketing team, you know, you and everybody that we are, you know, in our community. So
yeah, we are Ravencoin. Yep. Everybody in the community is Ravencoin. Ravencoin is us. We make Ravencoin great. That's what we do. And back to the thing about Xander Coin Mining, another thing is I will be hosting a server, or I should say part of the mining pool from here. So for the Western US, there'll be more info on that later once it gets done, but I'll be assisting in hosting a pool for this side of the country, because I noticed that there's not much on the West Coast of the United States for mining. Everybody's having to mine to the East Coast or Canada or wherever, or Asia. So I feel like I need to, that's one thing too, is I wanted to reach out to Alpha or Cryptic Wizard and help miners in this side of the country, you know, have access to a stable Stratum server to mine.
Do you know, I think Raven Miner might have one, because I'm East Coast and I use Raven Miner primarily. And I actually mine on Raven Miner EU Stratum because I get better ping from the United States to Europe than I do to West Coast. So I'm pretty sure Raven Miner might, obviously I want you to do your thing, but in the meantime, I do think that Raven Miner might have a West Coast server. And Raven Miner pool it's usually within the top 5 or 6 pools. Right now I think it has 200 or 300 gigahash on it. So it's you know, that's like I said, I mean, it's worth.
I'll look
into
it too. That I didn't know that.
So they don't have a solo pool though. So if you're trying to solo pool, and I was interested. What do you know? You said you got a block last night. Do you know about how much mega hash you're solo mining with?
I believe it was 100, 200. It was like 300, I think.
About 300.
About 300 mega hash.
Yeah.
I think the block, I want to say the difficulty was in the 60s, 64, 63. I mean, anytime you're in that low of a difficulty, solo mining, I mean, I've seen some blocks hit by somebody with like 12 mega hashes.
Right. One card.
And I'm like, what? That's amazing.
It is crazy. I mean, I haven't had any luck solo mining, and I've maybe solo mined, I don't know, I would say maybe 2 weeks total worth of doing it to have no reward. Sometimes before I'd go to bed, I would turn it on a solo mine and see, you know, maybe I'll hit a block overnight, you know. But it's like if I don't, then I haven't really wasted that much power. And you know, and if I do, then it's great, and then I could go back to pool mining and I just, you know, kind of increase my profit. That was my strategy, which has not worked out, but you know, I like you, I'm watching the difficulty, and I think I have 100 mega hash. But if it goes, you know, if it goes much lower than what it is now, I might switch over and test my luck. And if I don't hit anything, I'll just go back. But you know, it says with my hash rate, I should get like, you know, one block a month. But it's
No,
it's a game like that. So
I'm watching the price go down, so the difficulty is going to get low, a lot lower, which is
yeah,
good
people will
for.
keep leaving.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. I mean, as a miner, I just see look for the opportunities to take, you know, to hopefully hit those block rewards. But at the same time, I don't just cash out, you know. I actually invest it back into the ecosystem
Yeah.
because that's how I believe in it. I mean, I don't speak for every miner, but for me, that's what I do. Like I just went on I believe it's called Raven Mint. I've never heard of that before, but I guess it's a new site. I
Yeah,
went and mint.
made by the same guy that founded Ravenist, and he sold
Right.
Ravenist to Ryan, and then now he's
Oh,
made
okay.
Raven Mint to basically, from what I understand of it, the artist can basically upload all the layers of the NFT project, and it kind of, you know, is randomly created based on the rarities that the artist give, which is, you know, it is centralized, I
Yeah.
suppose, in that aspect. But very cool thing that's
Yeah,
happening,
I
and I
minted
think
a bunch of random stuff there like this morning because I saw the block reward that I wanted. I was like, oh well, I got some spending money.
nice.
So I went and minted some stuff, but I'm gonna keep the rest of the block reward that I have to keep doing with, you know, see what else is out there. But yeah, so that's what I do. I mean, I'm excited every day. I love Ravencoin so much. I mean, the community is great. I mean, it's just it's awesome. I mean, I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. It's just I like engaging every day, trying to help as many people, you know, learn about the blockchain and learn about Ravencoin. If they, you know, if they like Ravencoin, that's great. You know, we'll open arms. We're not going to judge you on anything. It's your thing. I mean, we're just a community trying to build a community, a bigger community, a decentralized community. So if you can run a node, that's even better. Like
Yeah.
for Ravencoin, that's partly the reason why I have like two old desktop computers that have like dual core processors on them. They're old that I've had them for years. I just turned them into Ravencoin nodes, and that's all I did.
Yeah.
They're in the shed as well. You probably can see it uh in the video that I sent you. There's some desktops towers that are in there. Yeah, that's exactly what they're for.
That's cool, man.
They're Ravencoin nodes because, you know, they
I
don't
think,
use up a lot of power. So
yeah, I think the coolest thing is just like hearing your passion and hearing most people's passion that talk about Ravencoin. I think that's the coolest thing about the community is like, yeah, you're welcome to join us if you want to put the Raven blocks in your name, throw them up in there if you want to join the community. And I see it's a very diverse community. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's
definitely.
very diverse all over the world, all, you know, so many walks of life. So I'm so happy to be a part of it. I'm so excited for the future. And I think there's times where last year I thought things would happen faster with price and stuff like that. But there came to a time where I stopped caring about price and I really started caring about fundamentals, like I said earlier, and the
Mm.
fundamentals that are being built on the blockchain you can't see on the chart. And I think we're in for an exciting 2022. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's crazy. So, you know, I guess we'll start wrapping it up. I just want to
All
tell
right.
everybody that's made it through this video, if you've made it this far, you know, thank you so much for your time and for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. I'm really looking forward to watching the Ravencoin community grow. If you guys have any interest in joining the Ravencoin community or mining Ravencoin or getting into Ravencoin NFTs, please find us on Twitter. I'll have both of our links in the description below. And so, you know, there's so many people that want to help you get into Ravencoin and help do different things. So we want people to join our community and be part of it. So I want to just leave it to you to, you know, any shout outs you want to do or anything that you want to say or any final thoughts, please be
Okay.
my guest.
Yeah, you know, just shout outs to the Ravencoin community. There's a lot of people that have been really engaged. I mean, clothing's out there, you know, Sunny. I'm sure some of you know my wife, Crypto Lissa. She's out there.
Killing the game.
Yeah. And other miners, Mining Office, for example. I've talked with him for a while, and you got a lot of other people in the community, man. There's just so many. I could be here for another hour talking about, okay, so and so and this person contributing. The community is so awesome. I think everybody in the community, to be honest, because like I said it in a post, and I think Bruce Fenton was like responded to it as well. I was like, literally, Ravencoin saved my life. Literally, like literally, I was in a dark place and the community took me in, and I kept going, and I'm still here and I'm chugging along. So I'm very happy for the community.
Well, I'm happy you're here, man.
And I thank you too for allowing me to be on your show, man. This is amazing. I haven't done this in my life, so this is cool.
It's fun. I mean, it's fun to me to hear your passion. Like I said, I mean, I could have someone on that has, a million graphics cards, and if they don't care about what they're mining, it's kind of a moot point to me. So we are the normal American person, that just going about our life, and we've discovered this great thing, and we were very passionate about it, and we're just trying to share it with other people. So I've really enjoyed my time, and if it weren't for video sake purposes, we could go on all day. So we'll have to get together and just hang out again like this. I've really enjoyed my time. So well, thanks so much, and I'll see you on Twitter.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.